How long will it take for me to learn piano, Ayana? This is another super frequent question I get from people who want to get an idea of how long it should take for them to get results. So I'm going to cover that in this video. And if you watch until the end, I'm going to give you a very powerful tool to help you exponentially get those same results that you want. Now, here's the thing, right? When people ask me, how long will it take for me to learn piano? The answer I always give is, it depends. And when I say it depends, it doesn't depend on the things that you might think. It doesn't depend on age. That's another video that I covered about, am I too old to learn piano? Is it too late for me to learn? Never too old to learn. But it's not about age, it's not about any of those things. The number one thing that determines how long it takes for you to get results is you. When I say you, I'm talking about the dedication that you give the piano. How often are you practicing? What are you practicing? How effective are you in your practice time? Those are like the number one factors that determine how fast it takes for you to learn piano. And I'm saying this because from personal experience, when I was teaching private lessons, I would have some students who, let's say I may have been teaching them for a year, right? And let's say it's a student who actually does practice, right? So I'm just giving you an example. Let's say I had them go through a piano book. Let's say like the very first piano book. I take all my students through the same piano book, right? And let's say for the first piano book, it takes maybe one student a year, right? To, get through that one book. Or maybe it may take them 6 months to go through that book. And they may even take, let's say, 15 minutes a day to practice, and they're just keeping a particular routine, and they get through that book within, let's say, 6 months or whatever. I'm just using 6 months as an example. I'm not saying that's how long it takes them. But I've had situations on multiple occasions where I would have that student for maybe like 6 or 7 months. They would take that period of time to get through the book. And then I may end up with a new student, right? And I would introduce them to that same exact book. I've actually had this happen, guys. It was the most amazing thing ever. And within 2 to 3 weeks, they went through that book. And it wasn't even me giving them the assignment. What I would do is I would say, okay, here's how to get through the first song. Here's how to sight read. Here's how to do that. And what they would do is they would take the principles that I would give them, and they would go through the rest of the book on their own. I didn't even assign them the rest. I just gave them one song. They completed that song, and they took more time than the student. They may have been practicing for maybe 30 minutes or an hour a day, right? And they would just go through each of the songs on their own, very self-motivated. And then within like 3 weeks, I would go in and they're like, I'm ready for the next book. Like, what? So what I'm saying is, and then I'll give you another scenario. This is the reason why I say age doesn't matter. I had another situation where I had a student who, he came from a family of four kids. He was the oldest, and he was in high school. He's about maybe 15 or 16 years old, right? And I started him around maybe same time I started with another student who, she was 7 years old. So 15 years old, 7 years old, right? And the 15-year-old, I gave him something to work on for the recital. So both of them were working on a recital, right? And I gave him something that was a bit more elementary because he was not practicing at all. His parents would run into practice, and every time I come to the lesson, he would be like, oh, I didn't get a chance to work on it. I had soccer practice or whatever else he had to do. If you're a teacher, the excuses the kids give you. Oh, my sister had a birthday party, and, our dog had to go to the vet. Whatever they tell you, the reason that they couldn't practice, right? And so there wasn't much progress that I could give him. There wasn't much more that I could give him. So I kind of had to make the actual lessons themselves, the practice session. And he had learned just enough to get to the recital, but he saw that 7-year-old girl who's like half his age, right? And when I say that, she was another one of those self-motivated students where within like 6 months of her going from not knowing anything to piano to learning the original Fur-Elise within like 6 months, because she was going on YouTube, learning songs on her own. Like, I would show up to the lesson and she would have a notebook of notes that she wrote in the notebook in reference to songs that she's learned on, like pop songs that she's learned on YouTube. I did not ask her to do this. She did this on her own. So I knew to work with her at a faster pace. So then when recital came around and the older student went first, because I usually had the beginner students go first and the more advanced students go after, right? So the older student went first with his song, and then he watched the 7-year-old do the Für Elise. And I remember the lesson afterwards, right? And I always have a feedback lesson after the recitals are over, and I say, hey, let's just go over some notes on your performance and what you did well, and what needs to be improved. And it was time to do the 15-year-olds practice session. And I said, what was your experience like? That was your first recital. How did you like it? The first thing he said was, I was outclassed. So I was like, outclassed by who? He's like, that little girl that played Für Elise, and she just was so much better than me. And I said, because she practiced more. And I'm saying all this, I'm giving you these examples, guys, because that again is going to determine how quickly you want to get results. And it also depends on what kind of results you're looking for. Are you trying to get to like piano, virtuoso level? That might take you a little bit longer than if you're like, I just want to learn a few chords. So all those things play a role in how long it will take. Before I get into what you need to do in order to improve your speed, to get your results, I do have a free 3-step piano video, or piano in 3 steps video if you're a complete beginner and if you want to get your foot in the door in terms of understanding how the piano works and just learning like your first, notes and everything like that. That video is in the description box. There's a sign up link to sign up for that video. It's available. It's free. So here's the thing. Now that you know that the length of time it takes for you to learn the piano, right, is based on you, the next steps that you need to do, or the next steps as I'm assuming that you're an adult watching this and you're like, you want to learn piano for yourself. It's difficult as an adult to stay focused and stay disciplined when it comes to practicing. And I understand that that's probably the biggest hurdle that keeps you from getting your results. It's really less about piano. It's really time management. So what you want to do is you want to do a couple of things. You want to find time each day to practice. If you think about the time of the day, if you were to become, let's say if you were to take some time to be more organized with your task list and things like that, and I have a practice tool that I will share with you in a moment that will help you with all of that, you will be likely to find at some point in the day, maybe different times in different days of the week, that's fine, where you can find 15 to 20 minutes of quiet time to be able to practice piano. And that 15 to 20 minutes can go a long way, right? And the reason why it can go a long way is because not only will you be consistent, and you have to be patient, as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, but also what you practice and how you practice. So being able to improve practice skills, and I have an entire playlist on practice skills I may put in the description box on things you need to practice based on your goals, things that you want to achieve. So that's for a different playlist, but if you stick with it, you can find considerable and significant results within a short period of time. With that said, I want to share with you a powerful tool that my students love. Something I actually made myself. I built this from scratch. The Practice in Less Time It Takes to Cook Blueprint. The reason why I titled it this way is because, again, most of my students are older adults and they don't want to overwhelm themselves with yet another task that they have to do on top of everything else. So this is basically saying it takes less time to practice than it does to cook, so you don't have to overwhelm yourself with yet another task. But it goes deeper than that. It's a whole PDF. It's an like an ebook, has a table of contents, and it goes deeper than just practicing, right? It shows you how to, do best practices for practicing. So it gives you those pointers. And it also helps you with mastering your current schedule. So not only is it the practice checklist, but it's also a task list. So it helps you figure out how to manage your time in general with your other tasks. And the whole point of that is if you can take time to manage your day, the day before, and you're able to go, okay, in this time I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and this, you will see how much free time you have. Because the reason why most people feel overwhelmed is because they don't really schedule their day. So their day takes them over versus them taking the day over, and it just feels like there's just never ending cycle of to-dos and things like that. Whereas if you actually sit down and organize your to-do list, you will actually find that you have a lot more free time. Most people end up finding that they end up freeing up like up to 2 hours of free time that they didn't realize that they had. So this practice planner will help you with managing that part of your schedule, help you figure out like what you need to do and to help you free up that time. Once you free up that time, right, as you can see here, mastering your current schedule. Once you free up your time, you have found more than 15 minutes of time to practice. So once you've done that, then you can go to the next part, which is my ultimate weekly practice planner, which is on the back. This will help you basically put a plan together on what you want to practice. What is my, okay, there we go. So you can help, it helps you find the different, days of the week that you can designate the time to practice. And you can also put in a log of what you worked on. You can do a log on your progress, so that way you can see where you are. And also at the top, so you have like the day, the week of whatever. And then you have like, the goals that you want to achieve that week as far as your musical success. And then at the end of the week, you can, see where you are and what progress you've made, and just do it on a weekly basis. So that practice planner is available to you. If you sign up for the Piano in 3 Steps video, which is free, the practice planner will be sent to you automatically. You'll be able to print it out. So it comes with the free 3 Steps video. So if you sign up for the 3 Steps video, the practice planner will come with it, and you can print it out and just use it to your advantage. So if you need other resources on things you need to know before you practice or before you learn piano, there's a whole playlist of tools and recommended books and things that you need to know before you start learning. That playlist is going to be either to the left or to the right of me on this screen. So thank you for watching. If you like my videos, please subscribe, turn on your notifications when I post a new video. And if you have questions, feel free to put them in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you in another video.